The Hebrew Bible, the 5 books of Moses. Exodus, chapter 16. And they journeyed onward from Elim, and all the community of Israelites came to the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai. On the 15th day of the second month of their going out from Egypt, and all the community of Israelites murmured against Moses and against Aaron in the wilderness. And the Israelites said to them, "Would that what we did by the Lord's hand in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the flesh pots, when we ate our fill of bread, for you have brought us out to the wilderness to bring death by famine on all this assembly." And the Lord said to Moses, "Look, I am about to rain down bread for you from the heavens, and the people shall go out and gather each day's share on that day, so that I may test them whether they will go by my teaching or not. And it will happen on the 6th day that they will prepare what they bring in, and it will be double what they gather each day." And Moses and Aaron with him said to the Israelites, "At the evening you shall know that it was the Lord who brought you out of the land of Egypt. In the morning you shall see the Lord's glory, as he hears your murmurings against the Lord. And as for us, what are we, what you should murmur against us?" And Moses said, "When the Lord gives you meat in the evening to eat, and your fill of bread in the morning, and the Lord hears your murmurings, that you murmur against him, and what are we? Not against us are your murmurings, but against the Lord." And Moses said to Aaron, "Say to all the community of Israelites, draw near before the Lord, for he has heard your murmurings." And it happened, as Aaron was speaking to all the community of Israelites, that they turned toward the wilderness, and look, the Lord's glory appeared in a cloud. And the Lord said to Moses, saying, "I have heard the murmurings of the Israelites. Speak to them, saying, At twilight you shall eat meat, and in the morning you shall have your fill of bread, and you shall know that I am the Lord your God." And it happened in the evening that the quail came up and covered the camp, and in the morning there was a layer of dew around the camp. And the layer of dew lifted, and look, on the surface the wilderness stuff fine, flaky fine, as frost on the ground. And the Israelites saw, and they said to each other, "Man, what is it?" For they did not know what it is. And Moses said to them, "It is the bread that the Lord has given you as food. This is the thing that the Lord charged. Gather from it each man according to what he must eat, and over to a head. The number of persons among you, each man for those in his tent, you shall take." And the Israelites did those, and they gathered some more and some less. They measured it by the omer. He who took more had no extra, and he who took less had no lack. Each according to what he must eat did they gather. And Moses said to them, "Let no man leave over from it till morning." But they did not heed Moses, and some men left over from it till morning, and it bred worms and stank. And Moses was furious with them. And they gathered it morning after morning, every man according to what he must eat. When the sun grew hot, it melted. And it happened on the 6th day that they gathered a double portion of bread, 2 omers for each. And all the chiefs of the community came told Moses. And he said to them, "And that is what the Lord has spoken. A day of rest, holy Sabbath to the Lord, is tomorrow. What you bake, bake, and what you cook, cook, and whatever is left over, leave for yourselves to be kept until morning." And they left it until morning, as Moses had charged, and it did not stink. There were no worms in it. Moses said, "Eat it today, for today is a Sabbath to the Lord. Today you will not find it in the field. 6 days you shall gather it, and on the 7th day, the Sabbath, there will be none then." And it happened on the 7th day that some of the peoples went out to gather, and they found nothing. The Lord said to Moses, "How long do you refuse to keep my commands and my teachings? See, for the Lord has given you the Sabbath. Therefore does he give you on the 6th day bread for 2 days. Sit each of you where he is. Let no one go out from his place on the 7th day." And the people ceased from work on the 7th day, and the house of Israel called its name Manna. and it was like coriander seed, white, and its taste was like a wafer and honey. And Moses said, "This is the thing that the Lord commanded, a full omer of it to be kept for your generations, so that they may see the bread with which I fed you in the wilderness when I brought you out of the land of Egypt." And Moses said to Aaron, "Take one jar and put in it a full omer of manna, and set it before the Lord to be kept for your generations, as the Lord has charged Moses." Aaron set it before the covenant to be kept. And the Israelites ate manna 40 years until they came to settled land. The manna did they eat until they came to the edge of the land of Canaan, and the omer is 1/10 of an ephah. Chapter 17. And all the community of Israelites journeyed onward from the wilderness of Sin on their journeys by the Lord's direction, and they encamped at Rephidim, and there was no water for the people to drink. And the people disputed with Moses, and they said, "Give us water, what we may drink." And Moses said to them, "Why do you dispute with me, and why do you test the Lord?" And the people thirsted for water there, and the people murmured against Moses and said, "Why is it you bring us up from Egypt to bring death on me and my children and my livestock by thirst?" And Moses called out to the Lord, saying, "What shall I do with this people? Yet a little more, and they will stone me." And the Lord said to Moses, "Pass before the people and take with you some of Israel's elders, and the staff with which you struck the Nile take it in your hand, and go. Look, I am about to stand before you there on the rock in Horeb. You shall strike the rock, and water will come out from it, and the people will drink." And thus did Moses do before the eyes of Israel's elders. And he called the name of the place Massah and Meribah, testing and dispute, for the disputation of the Israelites, and for their testing the Lord, saying, "Is the Lord in our midst or not?" And Amalek came and did battle with Israel and Rephidim. And Moses said to Joshua, "Choose man for us, and go out and battle against Amalek tomorrow. I shall take my station on the hilltop with the staff of God in my hand." And Joshua did as Moses had said to him to battle against Amalek. And Moses, Aaron, and Hur had gone up to the hilltop. And so when Moses would raise his hand, Israel prevailed, and when he would put down his hand, Amalek prevailed. And Moses' hands grew heavy, and they took a stone and put it beneath him, and he sat upon it. And Aaron and Hur supported his hands on each side. And it happened that his hands were steady till the sun came down, and Joshua disabled Amalek and its people by the edge of the sword. And the Lord said to Moses, "Write this down as a remembrance and record, and put it in Joshua's hearing, that I will surely wipe out the name of Amalek from under the heavens." And Moses built an altar, and he called its name Yahweh Nisi. "The Lord is my banner." And he said, "For hand upon Yah's throne, war to the Lord, for the Lord against Amalek from all time." Chapter 18. And Jethro, priest of Midian, Moses' father-in-law, heard all that God had done for Moses and for Israel, his people, that the Lord had brought Israel out of Egypt. And Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, took Zipporah, Moses' wife, after her being sent away, and her 2 sons, one of whom was named Gershom, for he said, "A sojourner I've been in a land, in a foreign land," and the other was named Eleazar, "For the God of my fathers was my aid, and rescued me from Pharaoh's sword." And Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, and his sons and his wife with him came to Moses to the wilderness in which he was encamped, the mountain of God. And he said to Moses, "I, your father-in-law Jethro, am coming to you, and for your wife and her sons, 2 sons with her." And Moses went out to meet his father-in-law, and he bowed down and kissed him. And each of them asked of the other's well-being, and they went into the tent. And Moses recounted to his father-in-law all that the Lord had done to Pharaoh and to Egypt for the sake of Israel, all the hardship that had come up on them on the way, and the Lord had rescued them. And Jethro exulted over all the bounty that the Lord had done for Israel, that he had rescued them from the hand of Egypt. And Jethro said, "Blessed is the Lord, who has rescued you from the hand of Egypt, and from the hand of Pharaoh, who rescued the people from under the hand of Egypt. Now I know that the Lord is greater than all the gods for in this thing that they schemed against them. And Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, took burnt offering and sacrifices for God, and Aaron and all the elders of Israel with him to eat bread with Moses' father-in-law before God. And it happened on the next day that Moses said to the judge of people, and the people stood over Moses from the morning till the evening. And Moses' father-in-law saw all that he was doing for the people, and he said, "What is this thing that you are doing for the people? Why are you sitting alone while all the people are poised over you from morning till evening?" And Moses said to his father-in-law, "For the people come to me to inquire of God. When they have some matter, it comes to me, and I judge between a man and his fellow, and I make known God's statutes and his teachings." And Moses' father-in-law said to him, "The thing that you are doing is not good. You will surely wear yourself out, both you and this people that is with you. For the thing is too heavy for you. You will not be able to do it alone. Now heed my voice. I shall give you counsel, and may be God with you. Be you for the people over against God, and it shall be you who will bring the matters to God. And you shall warn them concerning the statutes and the teachings, and you shall make known to them the way in which they must go, and the deed which they must do. As for you, you shall search out from all the people able, God-fearing men, truthful men, haters of bribes, and you shall put over them chiefs of thousands, chiefs of hundreds, chiefs of fifties, and chiefs of tens. And they shall judge the people of all times. And so every great matter they shall bring to you, and every small matter they themselves shall judge. And it will lighten from upon you, and they will bear it with you. If you will do this thing, God will charge you, and you will be able to stand, and also all this people will come to its place in peace." And Moses heeded the voice of his father-in-law, and did all that he had said. And Moses chose able men from Israel, and he set them as heads over the people, chiefs of thousands, chiefs of hundreds, chiefs of fifties, and chiefs of tens. And they judged the people at all times. The hard matters they would bring to Moses, and every small matter they themselves would judge. And Moses sent off his father-in-law, and he went away to his land. Chapter 19. On the third new moon of the Israelites going out from Egypt, on this day did they come to the wilderness of Sinai. And they journeyed onward from Rephidim, and they came to the wilderness of Sinai, and Israel camped there over against the mountain. And Moses had gone up to God. And the Lord called out him from the mountain, saying, "Thus shall you say to the house of Jacob, and shall you tell to the Israelites, you yourself saw what I did to Egypt, and I bore you on the wings of eagles, and I brought you to me. And now, if you will truly heed my voice and keep my covenant, you will become for me a treasure among all the peoples, for mine is all the earth. And as for you, you will become me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are the two words that you shall speak to the Israelites." Moses came, and he called to the elders of the people, and he set before them all these words that the Lord had charged him. And all the people answered together and said, "Everything that the Lord has spoken we shall do." And Moses brought back the people's words to the Lord. And the Lord said to Moses, "Look, I am about to come to you in the utmost cloud, so that the people may hear as I speak to you, and you as well they will trust for all time." And Moses told the people's words to the Lord, and the Lord said to Moses, "Go to the people and consecrate them today and tomorrow, and they shall wash their cloaks, and they shall ready themselves for the third day. For on the third day the Lord will come down before the eyes of all the people on Mount Sinai. And you shall set bounds for the people all around, saying, Watch yourselves, not go up on the mountain or touch its edge. Whosoever touches the mountain is doomed to die. No hand shall touch him, but he shall surely be stoned or be shot. Whether beast or man, he shall not live. When the ram's horn blasts long, they it is who will go up the mountain." And Moses came down from the mountain to the people, and he consecrated the people, and they washed their cloaks. And he said to the people, "Ready yourselves for 3 days. Do not go near a woman." And it happened on the third day, as it turned morning, that there was thunder and lightning and a heavy cloud on the mountain, on the sound of the ram's horn, very strong, and all the people who were in camp trembled. Moses brought out the people toward God from the camp, and they stationed themselves at the bottom of the mountain. And Mount Sinai was all in smoke, because the Lord had come down on it in fire. And its smoke went up like the smoke from a kiln, and the whole mountain trembled greatly, and the sound of the ram's horn grew stronger and stronger. Moses would speak, and God would answer with his voice. And the Lord came down on Mount Sinai to the mountaintop, and the Lord called Moses to the mountaintop, and Moses went up. And the Lord said to Moses, "Go down, warn the people, lest they break through to the Lord to see, and many of them perish. And the priests too, who come near to the Lord, shall consecrate themselves, lest the Lord burst forth against them." And Moses said to the Lord, "The people will not be able to come up to Mount Sinai, for you yourself warned us, saying, 'Set bounds to the mountain and consecrate it.' And the Lord said to him, 'Go down, and you shall come up, you and Aaron with you. And the priests and the people shall not break through, go up to the Lord, lest he burst forth against them.' And Moses went down to the people and said to them." Chapter 20. And God spoke all the words, saying, "I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slaves. You shall have no other gods beside me. You shall make you no carved likeness, and no image of what is in the heavens above, or what is in the earth below, or what is in the waters beneath the earth. You shall not bow to them, and you shall not worship them. For I am the Lord your God, a jealous God, reckoning the crime of fathers with sons, with the third generation and with the fourth. For my foes, and doing kindness to the thousandth generation, for my friends and for those who keep my commands. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain, for the Lord will not acquit whosoever takes his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to hallow it. 6 days you shall work, and you shall do all your tasks, but the seventh day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. You shall do no task, you and your son and your daughter, your male slave and your slave girl, and your beast and your sojourner who is within your gates. For 6 days did the Lord make the heavens and the earth, the sea and all that is in it, and he rested on the seventh day. Therefore did the Lord bless the Sabbath day and hallow it. Honor your father and your mother, so that your days may be long on the soil that the Lord your God has given you. You shall not murder, you shall not commit adultery, you shall not steal, you shall not bear false witness against your fellow man. You shall not covet your fellow man's house. You shall not covet your fellow man's wife, or his male slave, or his slave girl, or his ox, or his donkey, or anything that your fellow man has." And all the people were seeing the thunder and the flashes and the sound of the ram's horn and the mountain and smoke. And the people saw, and they drew back and stood at a distance. And they said to Moses, "Speak you with us, that we may hear, and not let no God speak with us, lest we die." And Moses said to the people, "Do not fear, for in order to test you, God has come, and in order that his fear be upon you, so that you do not offend." And the people stood at a distance, and Moses drew near the thick cloud where God was. And the Lord said to Moses, "Thus shall you say to the Israelites, You yourself saw that from the heavens I spoke with you. You shall not make with me gods of silver and gods of gold. You shall not make them for yourselves in earthen. After shall you make for me, and you shall sacrifice upon it your burnt offerings and your communion sacrifices, your sheep and your cattle. In every place that I make my name invoked, I shall come to you and bless you. And you should you make me an altar of stones, you shall not build them of hewn stones, for your sword you would brandish over it and profane it. And you shall not go up by steps upon my altar, that you may not expose your nakedness upon it."